Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Chris, and today I want to talk about junk. Your junk. No, not that junk. No, not your spring cleaning 2022 junk. I want to talk about this junk. Canadian junk. How does it stack up to American junk silver? What are the real pros and cons of Canadian versus American junk silver? Now, I'm definitely no expert, but I want to give you my 2 cents. Right off the bat, I don't have too much exposure to Canadian junk silver. The reason is because back here in California, we don't see it too often. It's not something that you'll get your hands on with regularity. And because of that, when I first saw it, which was only a few years ago, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, I know that Canada has junk silver, but I had never really seen too much of it, except the goose. I've seen these. But the First Nation version I've never really seen too often. And that was pretty cool to me. But the one that really caught my eye was actually something that I gave away in a previous GAW. I think it was the 500 sub GAW, like a few of these guys. Look at the detail on this Canadian junk silver. I mean, it's pretty... Let me zoom in on it so I can actually get... Okay, that's pretty good. But look at the detail on that crest. I mean, literally, you could make a bigger coin of this, throw it on a 2-ounce, and charge like $100 for it and call it part of the Queen's B series, and people would be like, this is the greatest coin ever. It's pretty exciting, pretty interesting stuff. But that being the case, where does American junk silver like fit into that whole equation? Because, being the patriotic stacker that I am, it's always interesting to me to try and look for examples of American constitutional that really kind of give the same feeling. I don't have it with me, but I have some like American junk silver quarters, that kind of thing. And to be honest, I actually kind of like them because there's a certain feel of the American constitutional silver that doesn't come through in the same way as like the Canadian. And what I mean is, whatever alloy they use in the American constitutional, it gives it a certain weight, a certain heft that really comes through. I mean, think about something like this, like a simple peace dollar. But this guy's almost 100 years old, which is crazy. I mean, when you think about it. But look at the detail on there. The detail on, is this Lady Liberty? Forgive me for not knowing. But it is very detailed, very classy looking piece. And of course, the eagle, everyone had different opinions on this. It was actually a pretty controversial coin, but we make pretty good looking stuff in America. I would say that they're more of the classic designs than really seeing the level of detail that you'll see in like the Canadian stuff. And so I'm really not sure which one is the best. Now I know what many of the stackers are thinking: just get whatever one's the cheapest, get whatever you can, get your hands on it. All right, okay, yes, I agree. We all know that. It's kind of like an unspoken truth that we all kind of live by. Yes, if it's cheap and you can get your hands on it, absolutely. But I mean, even other countries, like, I had never really thought about it until recently, but all the different countries had some type of precious metals currency at one point, right? And so, like, for example, this is an Israeli coin. I don't know what it says, but again, it is silver content. Now this would be like, I've seen some of the Mexican currency, some of the pesos that had silver content, which are actually really cool. But I don't see it too often, even though we're obviously hop, skip, and a jump from Mexico. We don't see it too often in the coin shops, so not too familiar with it. But for example, like this guy, the Olympic coin, which again has a tainted history. Even things like this one I would say reminds me more of the American side of the coinage, because it feels a lot like what a comparable American coin would have. But again, there's a lot of detail in there. This actually looks like the older American coinage. We've got the eagle over here with the snake in its mouth. This would be from Tenochtitlan, I think that's what it's called. Whoops, don't want to damage the Perth dragon bar. But again, there's so much to consider when you stock these kind of things. The only thing I would say that again with the Canadian that makes me kind of like it is because we don't have access to it as much here on the West Coast as maybe some of you in the East Coast. If anything, we'll see, of course, just the the American stuff and the random Mexican piece. But even like other countries, like Australia or Asia or things like that, every once in a while you'll see like coinage from those places, which is pretty crazy. And I'm always interested to see like what the history is over there, like what they consider like, oh, this is a historical piece. Because over here, personally, I don't have the knowledge to keep up with like the key dates and that kind of stuff of what's what over here. So it'd be pretty interesting to see like the key date junk silver elsewhere. I know like Austria Stacker, I know he has a lot of friends that he makes videos with, and he's got a pretty diverse collection of stuff, so maybe he has something like that. But even people from like UK or things like that, like you guys gotta have like a pretty interesting history with the junk silver. So I'm pretty interested to actually start looking into that and get some more familiarity. But one other thing I wanted to mention is there's a lot of great channels out there making like pretty much daily content. The other day I was watching Silverstruck's Engelhard video again, because like he's got such a nice collection and he's like very humble about it, as if it's just like, yeah, we all kind of have this. No, yours is really nice. You got Silverstacks Prepper. Silverstacks Prepper is actually a really cool channel that you should check out. He is one of the only people that I've seen that actually traded his gold, like a piece of his gold, for like an actual physical item. So he traded for like a camper, like a motorhome kind of thing. And you really don't see that. I've seen it maybe a couple times on YouTube where people actually do that. But hey, like that's the end all to be all, right? At the end of the day, it should be tradable for something else. So that's actually pretty cool. He's also got a really cool poured silver pyramid that I got to get me one of those. It's like a Mayan pyramid. One day I'm going to have one. But there's so many different channels out here that have great content. And, even if the thumbnail or the title may not catch your, pique your interest per se, give these channels a chance, because a lot of times they're talking about things that are so interesting. For example, I was watching Poor Man's Gold the other day, and he was just talking for 10 minutes about a random dime he found. But I was captivated. I was like, what's going to happen with this dime? Is it going to be like some kind of a key date? Like, what's going on with it? But yeah, there's so much information out there and so many people that know so much about so many different things. That's what I love about YouTube, is that even when I watch these small channels, as if I'm a big channel, but I learned so much that I think is amazing. And I wanted to give a shout out to Lady Bullion. Thank you for having me on your weekly weekend review. That was so cool. I appreciate that. But so many different people out here that contribute to the community. Obviously, we know the big players are Sal. Sal did a product video that I actually liked, which was really cool. He did some kind of a silver tester, which is awesome. Like that kind of stuff, I love seeing that stuff, because it's actually relevant to stacking versus Sal trying to sell me some uranium stock. But anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my take on junk silver. Have a good one.